1, 2, 3, 4. Hey everybody, and welcome to Ringside's first long format video. As you guys know, we do the old TikTok stuff and Instagram reels, but today we're bringing you a long format of our Laparoscopic AI session that we had with Tufts University a couple weeks ago. Actually, it was November 5th, so just about a month ago, and we've seen results of how those went. I'll indulge how mine went. We'll leave the other two that partook to announce their own goods or bads. For this session, I reached out to Danielle and our friend Tyler. Danielle's my co-host of Ringside. And I said, hey, have you guys thought about doing laparoscopic AI, which is a procedure done to artificially inseminate goats, sheep? And they said they were interested, so I kind of looked more into it, and here we are, a month later with pregnant or not pregnant does. So for our session, I decided I was going to lap AI 3 does. Danielle was going to do 2, and our friend Tyler was going to do 2 as well. They like to have a nice batch of goats that go to the university, so it's not just 1 goat or 2 goat, although some people do that. They'll do just 1 or 2 or 3 themselves and not have a group. But for us, monetarily, it made sense to go as a group. You get a little bit of a discount. That's what we decided to do. So when I reached out to Tufts University, what I did was said, hey, we have X number of goats. Became a client through them. They got all of our information. We signed up for Laparoscopic AI. They gave us the dates that they had available, and we scheduled it. Once you get closer to that date that you set up, they send you an email with their protocol to induce the does into heat, and it's very time-oriented. If you deviate at all, you can see various results. They want you to follow it to a T, basically, and this means down to like the minute, if possible. 2 weeks prior, we inserted cedars, which you're seeing here. I went to Danielle's and picked up cedars for my goats, and because our friend Tyler was out of town, I actually had to go over to his place, implant cedars into his does, and then come home and do it to my does that we're going to get lap AI.
And then
So it folds.
yeah, and then you put the lube on. It's probably too much. You just
Damn. She quick. Oh, you're so good. You're friendly. I like you. You're fun. Once that took place, you give your goats medication a couple days before the procedure, and I'm not going to really go into the medication that is involved. If you'd like, you can reach out to your veterinarian, or you can reach out to a university or someone that does this procedure, offers this procedure in your area, and they'll give you more information. But because I'm not a veterinarian, Danielle's not, Tyler's not, we're not going to indulge what that was, and it's no secret what it is. It's just something that we're not going to do today. Once we gave all the medication, the morning of, we met up at Danielle's place. I brought my goats, Tyler brought his, and we all loaded up in her trailer because she has a nice big trailer that you're seeing here. I have a veil I can throw in there if you want.
okay, perfect. We can throw your head in.
It's about a school bus. And we loaded up our goats and off we went to Tufts University. And I gotta say, it's not too terrible of a drive from our area in New York, but the roads in Connecticut are kind of rough.
Got stacks on deck, quick as day
So once we got done singing our songs and talking about goats, we arrived for the procedure. Here's where we're breaking down how the procedure actually goes. So once you arrive, they're going to weigh them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bunny.
Once they weigh them, they're going to also sedate them. And every place is kind of different on how they sedate goats or sheep. This one is quite a light sedative. We noticed that the goats were still kind of reacting when they were on the table, but not in like pain or anything. Just they were like, oh wow, I'm upside down, right?
She's getting sleepy.
She sure is. Ooh, Vi's getting a little. So once they give the goats the sedative, that's when they have us reach into our tanks and pick out the semen that we're going to be using on our goats.
Who's getting what? Just look down.
And they check the quality using an eye sperm. And on that eye sperm, they can get a percentage of the motility, if there's a lot of die-off, the quality of that semen. If it's good, they're for it. If it's bad, they're gonna say, hey, this isn't great quality. Do you have a backup buck that you want to use? And I would suggest, if you are going to go do this procedure, that you do have a backup in mind and in your tank, just in case the one that you have your heart set on is not good quality. So once they're done checking that semen, that's when they get the does ready. Really, it's at the same time. The assistants are getting the does ready for the procedure. Whichever doe's going first, they'll get up on a table. It's really kind of like a cart. You help them put the doe upside down on the cart, or her, belly facing up, and they shave right in front of the udder, and they prep it. They make sure that it's sanitary. They sanitize it, and they get the does ready. So they'll usually they like to do a group of 4 or 5, they said. So the first does that they did were Tyler's Nigerians and Danielle's Nubians. So they did a group of 4.
If it's going, you turn my left around. This is how we make Nigerians fit on the table. That one needs to get sleepier.
Hopefully I see the seg. This is the other, right? Let's cancel. Oh, right?
Once they are done with the procedure, which I'll get into in a second here, that's when they go into recovery. So for the procedure, what they do is they kind of stick like a speculum type deal through right above the udder, and it reaches in and goes straight to the uterus. And with that, they can see inside how it looks. They can see each side of the horn of the uterus, and that's when you'll see they're implanting half of the straw, and then on the other side, the other half of the straw. So they go from one side to the other.
Just so you guys are, you've all seen this before?
No, this is everybody's first time.
Okay. Sometimes they can freak out right now, and we keep going. It's not because they're like inhumane assholes. Because we've done a lot of this and we know what getting it down is what's best. It only gets worse along the way.
Yeah, well, especially once the semen gets thawed, you're like, oh boy.
Alright, that's the thing. You want to see inside your goat?
Has she had a sore eye for a bit?
She poked her eye recently, like last week.
So if you look in there, you'll see there's some pink, maybe a little bit blurry, that's where uterus and body, the ball center of it. So discover uterus.
Danielle's case, they did a quarter of the straw on one side and a quarter of straw on the other, and they used the rest of that half of that straw on the other doe.
I got you. Why do you think I was?
No, I know.
focusing on Bonnie?
I know. That's why I was making sure.
You need one more straw. Isn't it amazing how you can have such good semen on that one, and then what you have on this one, I find
The
the
funny thing is
majority.
this one's a lot older too.
The
That's
semen?
yeah.
So hit or miss.
Yeah, those top-notch bucks were what?
They were pretty old too.
Were they?
They're probably collected in like 2015.
Is that the ones that were there?
I think it must have been Pepper Geo.
You separate? Perfect. Here she goes. She's having a while now.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
and a half.
Nice feet. Yeah.
Done. Done.
Was it good?
40% with 50 mil per. So I mean, it isn't as concentrated, but the Nigerians are awake.
She's great. Oh, really? Yeah, she just sort of like, anytime anything's going on, she just sort of jumps in and gets slung for No, just listen.
Feeling nauseous again, and this is not the moment.
No.
Okay, guys, let's get this one done before I yak on the goat.
Maybe it'll be for good luck.
Alright.
And I obviously would not publish that video.
No, don't try to this goat. Done?
Once they do all that, they'll actually give you the opportunity to look inside the dough, and you can see the semen that they just implanted in there. You can see the color of the horn, and they'll kind of talk you through that whole process. After that's said and done, what they do is they just implant a couple staples, and that's just to help that close up. Those fall out after a couple of weeks. And then they flip the dough down onto the ground gently with the help of you and your assistants. And that's when they're placed on towels or on the floor to recover, depending on the dough. The recovery can be kind of scary if you aren't sure what to expect. Like I said, each dough is given a sedative. So some react to that sedative a little bit greater than the others. Those, they either tend to take some time to recover or they recover right away. I had a dough that she hopped up as soon as she got off the table. And then when we walked her, she walked to the trailer. When we got her in the trailer, that's when she went down and she actually wasn't getting back up. So we had to give her a reversal. I had another dough that both doughs, they were very loopy and you could tell they needed a reversal right away. So they got a reversal. The recovery takes anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes tops, maybe 20 if she's very sensitive to the drug. But once they're up, they're eating because before the procedure, they are not on water or feed, no hay, anything, because they want that rumen nice and empty in order to get to the uterus as good as possible. That's how the day went. After we were done there, we paid our bills and we were off on the road. So we went out to lunch, had a nice time chit-chatting. We actually recorded an episode of Ringside, and yeah, it was just a really good time. So let's get to the results, because that's what's going to tell you if it's worth it for you or not. I'm just going to state mine, and the others will, I'm sure, have posts on their social medias for their farm, or we'll talk about it on the podcast in the future here. But for my animals, I had 3 does that were laparoscopic AI. And from what I saw and from what I heard, they were all in premium timing for their heats. Especially our doe Whisper. The vet said, hey, we can flush eggs if you want, because she's perfect right now. Out of the 3 does, Whisper, Opal, and Vi, Vi was bred to a buck that had pretty good motility, and that did not take. She came back into heat on day 21, and I opted to cover her live with my buck that I have here on my farm. So he bred her, and her lap AI did not take, which is unfortunate. It was an exciting breeding, but this is also a gamble anytime you're doing this kind of work. So she didn't take, and then our other doe, Opal, was bred to a really exciting buck. It would have been a really fun breeding. But unfortunately, that semen was in wonderful state, had great motility, but again, just did not take. We don't know why. She was in great heat as well, and it just is one of those things. So then it came down to Whisper, who we bred to a very hard to find buck who has done some pretty amazing things for the Oberhasli breed throughout the years. His daughters especially have been awesome. And we were told by the breeder of said buck that she's the perfect kind of doe to use. So we did. And so far, we're on day 27, 26. She hasn't come into heat, and she's happily munching. So 2 does came back into heat and were live covered by our buck. And Whisper, who was bred to a pretty rare buck, is happily just doing her thing, acting like a bred doe around the hay feeder. So we're hoping that once we pull blood later this week and we send it out, that she will be bred, and we can announce that, and it'll be super exciting. So we're still crossing our fingers. We haven't gotten to that finish line yet. And honestly, with these, you don't get to the finish line until the kids hit the ground, right? But it's another step closer to our goal, and we're excited to see how that goes. Now, here's the question that everybody is going to ask. Was it worth it? And are you going to do it again? Personally, I think it was worth it. And although for the price of what we spent and the actual conception rate that we had this go around wasn't exactly great, right? We definitely want to have more than a 33% chance success rate, that's for sure. It's disappointing, and it makes me maybe not want to try as many next year. And I think we'll definitely try AI next year, and maybe 1 lap AI just to use some rare semen again, if that makes sense. Or possibly harvest some eggs from a doe. It was a great learning experience with Tufts University. They are so professional. I suggest anybody that's in the Northeast, if you are able to get to Tufts University and use them, I would. Because although I only had a 33% success rate, if I were doing a regular transcervical AI, I probably wouldn't have seen the success I'm seeing here. Yes, the semen that I've used has been able to settle does in the past transcervically, but again, I'm not a professional when it comes to AI and goats, which is why I went the Lap AI way. So it's a nice procedure, wasn't too hard on the goats. The worst thing is they're in heat and they're acting like they're starving. Besides that, everything was great. And I think that all of us will definitely be using that again. I think we are already planning on breedings to do so again for next year. All in all, a wonderful time with friends and the goats. And if you like this kind of content from Ringside and American Dairy Goat podcast, fret not, because we are going to be doing product impressions coming up this week. We're also going to be doing unboxings. We're reaching out to different companies within our industry to try to get our hands on some of their different goods to show and share with our industry, you guys, the producers. So for now, if you want to hear more about our laparoscopic AI adventure, we did record an episode with Dr. Melissa Holohan, and that was, about 6 weeks ago now. And we also recorded an episode on our road trip back from Connecticut with Danielle Caroli, my co-host, and Tyler Ramirez. And you won't want to miss that. That was a fun episode as well, with a lot of road noise. But hey, that's what you get when you're recording on the road, right? Thanks for joining us, and tune in to the podcast every Tuesday. It's up at 3 a.m., so plenty of time to hear it throughout the day. Leave us a like, review, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, here on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the bell, all those things. And we'll catch you on the next one.